95.1 FM KALH. Anthony Lucero with you right here on your Solid Gold Sunday. And we've got a really cool guest for you now. He's performed all over the country and recently on television where he was on Penn Teller's Fool Us, where he attempted to fool the bad boys of magic on national television. Please welcome magician Nathan Coe Marsh. Nathan.
How you doing, Anthony? Good to be here, man.
All right. Glad to have you on KALH, broadcasting in south central New Mexico. You ever been down here?
I haven't been to New Mexico, a little to Arizona. No, I've been to Nogales. Had a great time there. Had a great 3 weeks there one night. So it was a great experience. But you guys have a beautiful land, man.
So tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, so magician and comedian based here in Orlando, so similar heat, but a little wetter than what you guys have.
Right.
I got out of college in 2005, started performing at some local comedy clubs, have always loved kind of just amazing people and creating really extraordinary experiences. And have been performing at corporate events, special events, things like that. That's been my niche for about 10 years now, and finally got to perform for two guys I've been a huge fan of. You saw last week, and it was a great experience, man.
How did you get started in magic?
I was about 10 years old, and a buddy of my parents came over, and he made a dollar bill float in midair, like right in front of my eyes, and I was just freaking out. Like, I was, for the next 3 weeks, I was like, it happened at the dining room table, and I was examining that dining room table and just going nuts over it. And so it was a hobby for many, many years. And when I was in college, I got a job over one summer teaching magic at a summer camp and got to perform, man. And I got hooked on that very first show that I did. Happened to be for some kids who I'd been living with for the past 6 weeks as their counselor. So they're kind of looking up to you, kind of thinking you're cool. And you had this connection with them, this rapport with them in the show that when you get that as a performer, on rare nights when it's really clicking, when it's really coming together, it's one of the most amazing feelings there is. And that was right out of the gate, the first show, and I was just hooked on it. And I realized it was what I was meant to do. And so I took what my parents thought was going to be a year off between undergrad and grad school or a real job and started performing, and it's gone really well.
Very cool. You know, as a magician myself, I think I know the answer to this next question, but I'm going to ask anyway. What was it like performing in front of Penn Teller?
It was amazing, man. I got to tell you, I had dinner with Teller with a bunch of other magicians years ago when they were out doing a show, and I was really nervous and awkward around him, and like my throat got dry. And I was like, man, how am I going to do this? Like performing in front of him on national TV if I can't even say hello to the guy. So the first probably 3 minutes of that piece, and you probably can't see this, but I'm scanning the room like you always do when you're performing,
right.
But I'm very specifically avoiding Penn and Teller. I was not going to look them in the face until I absolutely had to, and until I was kind of already in a rhythm. So once I got those first couple laughs out of the way, you kind of relax, and then it becomes like any other show. You know, it becomes like what you've done thousands of times before, but it's just getting over that first initial hurdle.
What makes the magic of Nathan Coe Marsh unique?
It's about, there are a couple things. The first is I've always been really passionate about the classics, but unlike these guys who are just going out and doing the classics, what I try to do is I try to get in the DNA of what makes something that people have been doing for hundreds of years click, what makes that work. And I try to construct something that's new and different and that you've never seen before, but that hits on those same cylinders. And so that's, a great example of that is the trick that we saw last week, which is something that there's some classic methods and there's some classic approaches, but it's creating a vision and an effect that hasn't been done, and a really cool experience that's something new and different. So that's the focus for me.
And for those that missed that performance, somehow Mr. Marsh made a golf ball appear inside of a very small jar that's much too small for that ball to be in. So really cool if you have a chance to see that. What is your favorite trick?
Oh, man, that is such a hard question. Right now, I'm partial to the golf ball trick right now.
Oh, yeah,
and if people didn't get a chance to see it, you can definitely see it on YouTube. So I'm definitely partial to that. There's a piece in the show where somebody takes a high-velocity paintball gun. We load it up with a gumball. They fire it at my face. I catch it between my teeth. There's a classic piece that I'm sure you're familiar with that I love, and I've got some what we call work on, which is borrowing three people's wedding bands And just like you see with the big linking rings, the big chintzy metal things that go together, their actual wedding bands that they're wearing become chained together right in front of someone's eyes on stage. And the look on that person's face when they lift up their ring, and their ring is now, permanently connected to two total strangers, and they realize they need to, change their Facebook to "It's complicated." It's a beautiful moment, man. It's a beautiful moment.
What can we expect to see from you in the future?
It's an exciting path. It's an exciting journey. I'm not one of these guys who's wedded to, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that and I'm going to do this and the other thing. I'm in it for the ride. And so it's continuing to do shows, continuing to create really cool things, because those are the two things that I'm in love with personally. And just having those moments of connection with audiences and getting to give people something, an experience that they don't get really in any other context. So that's what fires my switches.
Very cool. We're talking to Nathan Coe Marsh. You can find him online at ncmarsh.com. Nathan, before we let you go, do you have any words of wisdom to share with us?
Words of wisdom from someone doing card tricks for a living.
Good point.
Yeah, no, absolutely, man. Best advice I ever got, and it happened to be about performing, but it works for life too, is always do the show in front of you and not the one that's in your head. So we always have this vision for ourselves. It's very romantic. And a great quick story on this. There was a comedy show about 20 years ago, one couple in the audience in this entire comedy club, empty comedy club. The opening act comes up. He does his act like there are 300 people in the room. It's really, really awkward for these two people who are just laughing by themselves. Middle act comes up, does the same thing. The closer walks out, says, "Hey guys, can I sit with you?" Orders a drink, sits down with him, does his actual stand-up comedy routine he'd be doing anyways, but does it as the guy hanging out with them, holding court, having dinner. They laugh their hearts out. It's an amazing experience. They change phone numbers at the end of the night, become really good friends. His name was Jeff Foxworthy. And so that thing of looking at situations in life and seeing what's actually in front of you and not what you want them to be.
Well said. All right, magician Nathan Coe Marsh, great to have you here, and we wish you the very best, sir.
Hey, my pleasure, Anthony. Take care.